In this global software project management course, we had a global collaboration between students from SMU and CMU. The students worked closely together to make this project a success. In this global team, we have project manager Wen Bin, SMU and CMU coordinator Celine and Theophilus, as well as members Melissa, Sam, Amiti and Peter. And together, we are Team 7 Ninjas. In this video, we'll be touching on two phases. Phase 2A, which is the in-depth analysis and recommendations. Phase 2B, which is the team's reflections.
Globalization is the unification of the perceptions of individuals in traditionally different categories due to the interaction with electronic media. Coffee Bean has demonstrated globalization, although the websites are not delivered to a global community. The Calling All Espresso Lovers promotion on both websites is an attempt by Coffee Bean to create a virtual group with a common interest in espresso, regardless of their nationalities. This espresso virtual group is an example of product affinity group and global identity for both Singaporeans and Americans. Internationalization is maintaining the same base for different international versions of the website. Coffee Bean has not applied internationalization on their websites because the base design for both the Singapore and the US websites are significantly different. A deeper comparison reveals that different products are being offered on both websites, meaning that the features on these two websites are different. The different encode design can be clearly seen by inspecting the elements in both websites. The written CSS and forms that are used to communicate with the back-end servers are different for both sites.
Localization is to adapt the product to suit the specific market, and Coffee Bean has done that for both its websites. On the Singapore website, Singaporean NRIC number are needed for account registration. For the US website, there are winter promotions because US is experiencing winter right now. Culturalization, on the other hand, promotes local identity, cultural values, and tradition. For the SG website, Chinese New Year promotions are being advertised, and that promotes the Chinese identity within Singapore. For the US website, there's a higher level of individualism and masculinity. The website is targeted more towards single consumer rather than group, and it has an achievement-oriented goal.
The metaphor employed on the Singapore website seems to be like a scroll or a long sheet of paper laying on a wooden surface. The texture of the surface is smooth, and there are natural elements like fruit peels, leaves, and coffee beans on this paper, which adds to the realisticness of the intended metaphor. Virtually every page employs this metaphor. Even the dynamic advertisement on the home page revolves around nature. The metaphor is realistic, clean, simple, casual, and low pressure. It may have been adapted from a hanging scroll or painting or calligraphy in the Singaporean Chinese culture. However, we feel that this approach is not actively seeking to gain the attention of Singapore consumers, as there is nothing flashy to draw a consumer back. Thus, this impacts loyalty negatively, and which is evident from the survey results. Survey results also show that satisfaction is adversely impacted. We believe that it is due to boredom from the lack of dynamicness on the website. As indicated by the survey results for trust, the authenticity of the metaphor may be positive, with the symbol interpreted on the top left corner of the scroll. Based on the hostile cultural dimensions of the United States and Singapore, we believe that Coffee Bean has effectively catered to the high masculinity rating of the United States, which is 63 out of 100, meaning that the US as a society equates success with being the best, as opposed to qualities associated with femininity. While Singapore has a lower Hofstede masculinity rating, we still believe that the Singapore website is too passive and lacking in confidence, which may negatively impact loyalty. Based on this, we believe that Singapore participants would prefer something closer to the metaphor of a salesperson with a fast-selling characteristic as opposed to the current paper metaphor.
The metaphor employed on the US website resembles a salesperson who is hard-selling products to customers. Hard selling is a technique of aggressive advertising. The US website is a high-pressure environment with a constantly changing focus as multiple advertisements quickly move across the page. These advertisements create a sense of anxiety in the customers that they must buy the product immediately. The message in the advertisements are all in capital letters and extremely direct. When words are capitalized, it is interpreted by most Americans as a raised voice through the medium of text. Moreover, the hard sell approach is also implemented through the use of product competition, as the US website shows individual product ratings on every page. When US customers see the ratings of other customers, this may lead to an increased sense of trust in the products. US customers are used to comparison shopping and acquiring multiple opinions before purchase, which the US website promotes.
The main color on both the US and Singapore websites is brown, with the US site using a darker shade and the Singapore site using a lighter shade. On the US site, promotional items are depicted with an orange or blue layout. Orange is an aggressive and energetic color, and we believe that the use of orange will encourage users to make purchases, while blue is used to help establish a sense of trust and friendship between Coffee Bean and its consumers. On the Singapore website, green is used for most text, buttons, and images. Green is associated with money and nature, hence it suits Singapore perfectly. Singapore is known for its financial sector, as well as a clean and green environment. Green is also the color of tea leaves, and statistics show that Singaporeans consume more tea than Americans. Unfortunately, the use of green in text causes some readability issues, as the color is relatively similar to the background of the site. Lastly, red is used in the Coffee Bean's Chinese New Year promotion. In the Chinese culture, red is considered to be an auspicious color that symbolizes good fortune, luck, happiness, and many other positive attributes. In today's context, red is also a good color that is often associated with love or passion.
Homepage is a critical part of a website as it is the entry point for consumers to view a company's information, products, and services. Therefore, the goal for many companies is to make the homepage as welcoming and as enticing as possible. One way companies can do this is by using useful web features. In terms of important web features, Coffee Bean has several good examples when viewing their homepage. The most important web feature is the slideshow. A slideshow is an easy way to advertise products in a user-friendly manner. Slideshows also help attract consumers by improving user interface designs. Other important web features include navigation, login, and advertisement presence to ultimately sell goods and make a profit. While both US and Singapore websites have these features, it is important to note that the quality of the US features are much better and will surely entice more consumers.
To find out which approach Coffee Bean employed, we compared the different websites and found that they employed the anarchist approach, where each website has a completely different design. Furthermore, the tone for the US website is more aggressive and has a focus on attracting the consumers, whereas in the Singapore website, it is more dull and less descriptive. This could be due to cultural differences, whereas US has a high level of individualism and masculinity, and vice versa for Singapore. In this recommendation, we will improve the user interface of the Singapore website by making it similar to that of the US website, because the survey results show that the US website is preferred by the consumers. There will be a label to indicate that this is the Singapore version of the website. We will change the website navigation bar to feature Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf's key products. Previously, the slideshow on the Singapore website does not allow users to navigate between promotions. Now, we've added buttons to allow them to click left or right, thus enhancing the usability. On top of that, the website will have content that features culturalization, such as the Chinese New Year promotion. Upon scrolling down, you will see that we have used the same layout as the American website to display the current content in the Singapore website. We believe that this change will increase the Singaporeans' trust and loyalty towards their local website.
For the Singapore website, the language is set to English, making interaction with the website a simple task for users who understand this language. However, this could be a problem for native speakers who do not know or understand English. Our recommendation aims to solve this issue by giving users a web feature to change languages. By adding this feature, we can make sure to increase user experience and also help cater information to different cultural groups. In addition, this web feature can also be incorporated into the US website to benefit US consumers. For the Singapore website, performing online purchases for products currently requires a Coffee Bean account. If the customer does not have an account, he or she is required to create one. The problem with this is that first-time Singapore customers may be reluctant to go through the hassle of creating a customer account just to purchase a product. Thus, our recommendation is that if the Singapore website insists that customers register, it should allow for social login, such as a Facebook login, for the convenience of the Singapore customers. That way, customers can simply enter their Facebook email address and password to purchase the product. This is not only easier for consumers, but it also creates a personalized experience. In addition, the social login feature can also be incorporated into the US website to benefit the US customers.
For the US website, do note that as it is also the international website, there will be no need to include a USA label. For this recommendation, we will be improving on the store locator function. Previously, consumers will have to undergo many clicks via drop-down lists and checkboxes to locate a store, and each time the consumer wants to change their search criteria, a new web request will have to be submitted. Therefore, we want to minimize the number of clicks and make the map change dynamically to the new search criteria. These can be done via Ajax. When there is no selection, the map shows all the Coffee Bean stores in the US by default. First of all, in order to minimize the number of clicks, we allow the consumer to search for the state or the city directly. An autocomplete feature will assist them in doing so. Now, let's pick California, USA first. The map is updated to show the stores in California only. Secondly, the map will change dynamically with each new interaction. For example, in changing the search criteria, the consumer can click a checkbox, and the map is updated automatically. Now there are 2 stores instead of 3. Clicking on the store icon allows us to see the store information, photos, as well as opening hours. We would also like to highlight that this recommendation can be applied to the Singapore website.
Team 7 Ninjas took advantage of multiple collaboration tools for the entirety of this project. The most frequent communication was through the Facebook Messenger system, which was used multiple times each day to confirm deadlines, answer questions, and assign work. Twice a week, the team would participate in a video call through the Google Hangout system. This helped to improve the relationships between team members, clarify certain topics, and to brainstorm ideas in a more efficient manner. The team collaborated through Google Docs, which made it extremely easy to combine our work. Furthermore, we recommend always having a contingency communication plan in case the communication tool fails. Our team always had a plan to use Skype video calls if the Google Hangout system was unavailable. We would not recommend frequent email usage, as this is often slow, and when there is a thread between 7 people, information can be easily lost.
Because this phase involved a greater variety of tasks, work delegation was less straightforward. The fact that we were working on multiple deliverables also added to this confusion. We tried to delegate as evenly as possible, but that's always a bit difficult. This process involved listing out tasks and dividing them up, and then deciding who would work on which sections. Whenever 2 people were needed for a section, we tried to pair a CMU student with an SMU one to emphasize working together across the world. For example, I worked with Wenbin on the section of globalization and culturalization.
In terms of global meetings and planning, I found this phase to be a little bit more challenging. While meeting for the icebreaker and earlier exercises was trivial, with the phase that took 2 full weeks, the challenge of finding common time slots that satisfies everyone's schedule was difficult. Regardless, as a group we learned to be flexible and try to look for times that are available to most. In most cases we ended up with great meeting attendance. As far as the physical meetings, we took a lot of time to distribute work and discuss any confusion the group has. As a team, we met at least twice a week, and this frequency helped us keep on track and stay focused.
In the beginning of each of the phases, the first priority as a group was to break down the goals of the assignment into smaller sections and assign each of these parts to a team member. This gave everyone a clear responsibility, and in the event that a part was done poorly or not done at all, which fortunately didn't happen, we would have known who to hold accountable. Even outside of the phases, there were roles assigned to each group member, such as an overall project manager and a coordinator on each side.
2 students of Team 7 Ninjas attending Singapore Management University are 13 hours ahead of the students attending Carnegie Mellon University. What is evident here is that each school is effectively operating on the opposite schedule of the other. In Phase 1, coordinating our survey was a stellar example of follow the sun work. Sam and I from CMU began the survey in Pittsburgh daytime. When Pittsburgh nighttime came, Wenbin and Celine carried on the survey as it was Singapore daytime. The survey was then passed back in time for Pittsburgh daytime.
Technology plays a strong role in bridging the physical gap existing in global projects. Facebook, which all of us use on a daily basis, ensures that we get a needed response as fast as possible. The informality of using Facebook has also helped to keep the tone light and friendly within the group. For our project meetings, we opted to use Google Hangout. This tool allowed us to have face-to-face interactions, and one thing is that it is very effective. Being able to see who we are communicating with makes a huge difference, as interaction is not only defined by text or voice, but by body language as well. That said, I'm glad that we managed to communicate effectively to speed up our project's progress.
In a global project, I feel that project management is very important. First of all, you need a comprehensive project schedule. The tasks in the schedule must be broken down into parts that can be completed by individual, because we are all not co-located at the same place. Secondly, deadline has to be adhered to strictly. This makes coordination easier. And if deadlines are not adhered to strictly, the project may get delayed. Luckily for us, all the teammates submit their parts well before the deadline.